folks, welcome to Legacy IAS. In today's video, we'll be looking into the society and economy aspects of your Kadamba dynasty. Alright, let's get into the video. Now, how was the society system, in your Kadambans? Typical traditional, they were adherents to the four Varna system. What are those? Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now how was the rigidity with respect to Varna system? See, one thing with respect to Kadambas is there is a theory that they are of Brahmin lineage but took up Kshatriya occupation. Did it change anything to the other Varnas, or was there any intermixing of Varnas? Alright. See, when a Brahmin could take up the role of a Kshatriya doesn't mean this role had any change. There was no changes. Largely they still followed the status quo, that is, this society had to function in the so-called order of the Varna system. Alright. Whereas your Brahmin and Kshatriya, they still followed the same rule, that is, the position of Brahmin came higher and that of a Kshatriya came below, and sometimes it was vice versa. Alright, but there was an interesting feature that you can observe here. Sometimes, it is observed in the Kadamban society, a Brahmin man, could marry a Kshatriya woman, but at the same point of time, a Brahmin woman couldn't marry a Kshatriya man. There are large instances that we see of this way, right? Whereas, along with the Varna system, there was also that of caste system. The rigidities in caste system also started becoming larger. There was a rigidity in the caste system, that is, intercaste marriages, intercaste dinings were usually frowned upon. Alright, look at this, Varnashrama. The society had strict adherence to Varnashram, intercaste marriage or intervarna marriage, right? Both came with specific conditions, right? And now, in this particular, Kadambas what topic we are discussing, the most important city that here we will be talking about is your Banavasi. One of the oldest and traditional towns of your Karnataka region, Banavasi. Alright, towns like this more sprung up in nature. The concept of cities originating and emerging as regions of trade, regions of commerce, regions of administrative units, and different sections and different types of economy and employment. When I say different types of economy, the economic generation was changed here with respect to your urban-rural. So we see clear urban-rural distinction also. One of the ways that they garnered income was through your taxes. What kind of taxes, how many taxes, on what elements taxes were imposed, we'll see that in the later part of the video. Alright. Next. Going on, see, one more thing is, as we've spoken about your Kadambas, they produced a fine range of literature. Right, here the literature was of a fine range, but also the literature was more on based of linguistic. Alright, so there was an enrichment in literature as well as linguistic, we can see, and thus the growth of your Kannada language. The growth of Kannada language is largely attributed to your Kadambas, the beginning or language of the native soil. Alright, language of the native soil. Alright, this concept, the seeds of this was sown during the period of Kadambans. Alright, next, look at this. Literature is repeated almost thrice, indicating literature, poets, poems, literary works gained enormous amount of importance in the Kadamban period. Alright, next, look at this. The taxes were now imposed on both. First, for example, the most basic primary thing is your land tax, agricultural tax. One thing with respect to Kadambans is they also put tax on the allied sector of agricultural activities, for example, cattle farming. Right? Now, for example, if there was a piece of land, alright, now they also made sure, alright, in this particular piece of land there would also be something called cattle grazing. right? Cow herding, that was a separate occupation. Cow pen, maintaining a large amount of cow pens, separate occupation, right? Now agriculture and allied activities. Agriculture ke liye, it's not that you will just grow something and give them tax, right? You need also other things to support agriculture in the form of your irrigation, right? Canals, tanks, water restoration, okay? All this they were trying to do, which means they used to tax the public on these aspects. Alright, moving on, your Kadambas, okay? Their geographical boundary or the political boundary, the Kadambas political boundary was distinguished and demarcated by your geographical boundary. Most importantly, look at this: water tanks, irrigation channels, streams, soil types, and the crops grown. That is, the importance was laid very much with respect to land, agriculture, allied activities. This is what we mean by that. Okay, land and allied activities taking place within that land, both were taxed. Alright, this was one thing. Okay, that is very much okay a matter of interest with respect to your Kadambas. Okay. Moving on, as we have been speaking about more specifically land and the allied activities or the activities taking place within the land also were taxed. One most important thing with respect to Kadambas is your cattle wealth. They paid huge and enormous amount of okay detailing towards your cattle wealth. What do we mean by detailing? That is large amount of cattle land, okay, that is pasture lands. They also made sure good amount of cattle wealth is there. They also made sure if someone has to prove themselves as a status quo, right? For example, possession of your cattle wealth proved to be a status quo, okay, and showing your affluence, okay. What do you mean by affluence? That is how rich are you, okay. So that was also shown, okay, with respect to the donation of cattle. Okay, donation of cattle also proved how affluent you are, how rich you are, how wealthy you are. So okay, what respect do you earn in society is based on this. Okay, and associated with cattle, right? When you associate something with cattle, a number of occupations also came up. Okay, for example, they want to okay herd it, then a good amount of cow pen is needed, usually good amount of merchants, right? Good amount of affluent families maintain large amount of cow pens, good grading of horses, good grading of cattle, okay, good quality of cattle were all maintained and a ledger was kept to keep a tab on these. Alright, look at this, large cattle herds were there, okay. One more thing is there was imposition of taxes on milk and milk products. Alright, moving on, okay, the cattle wealth, okay, cattle health, all are very important here. Alright, why? Because cattle health is very much determinant in forming cattle wealth. Alright, so there was equal amount of weightage given to both. I want you to observe this well: cattle health, cattle wealth. One thing with respect to your Kadambas, you should know with respect to cattle or the same will apply towards your land is, right? With land, what kind of land would be useful for you? Will it be a dry land or a wet land? Or will it be a fallow land or will it be a productive land? Right? Somewhere these things, yeah, productive land is always better. Good amount of cattle health is always better. They took restorative methods, that is, they took, alright, restorative methods to improve the cattle health so they could gain the cattle wealth. They could improve the land productivity so that the taxes could be improved. Okay, so restorative activity with respect to society. Okay, restorative activity with respect to society was taken on a larger scale. That is very good feature about your Kadambans. Alright, next, look at the economy. The revenues were both on agricultural and pastoral elements. Pastoral, nothing but again your cattle wealth. Alright. Now, when we say cattle was considered as a wealth, then obviously theft will be taking place on a larger scale for that too. Yeah. So, cattle theft is also largely seen here. Alright. Cattle raids, cow herds, shepherds, basically as I said, new occupations, new zones surrounding the cattle itself was surrounding. There was also mixed farming practice. What is it? Grazing plus cultivation. Alright. The taxes was levied on the newly irrigated lands, that is any lands that they have brought, okay, into a restorative version, that is if they restore a dry land or if they restore a fallow land and bring it back, okay, to a productive land, then the taxes will be levied on that, indicating that the kings were very much keen to make sure that they will bring a good amount of land, okay, into productive lands. All right. Next, look at this. Large growth of the concept of urban entities or cities and towns emerged well, which means, see, we speak about cities and towns, so obviously merchants. We also have good amount of tribals, right? Presence of both are there. And then your cities, towns emerged as new centers of your administrative, economic, commerce, trade, religion, everything emerged around here. Okay. At that period of time, Hinduism, Varnashram, yes, but at the same period of time, there was also, okay, presence of Jainism as well as Buddhism. Alright. About your Kadambas is the concept of hero stones or Virakal, not just for men but also for women in very rare cases. I'm not telling in very large cases or equivalent basis. Larger number of hero stones are dedicated to your men, but there are also your hero stones which are dedicated to your women. Alright, there was also practice of sati or the discussion of sati concept was there in the period. Now, the one more thing with respect to your Kadambas is the concept of physical education or physical sport in the form of wrestling. Right? Another thing, interesting feature about your wrestling is both there were male wrestlers as well as female wrestlers. Alright, there's also this thing called as Malla Yuddha. Okay, so the concept of your physical wellness, physical health, or physical sports, it was used for an entertainment activity. Yes, all this was there. Along with that, the society or mostly your officials and your royals practice the concept of archery. Alright, with the concept of hunting. Right, again this archery and hunting were not just restricted to men alone, it was to women also, but the chances are very less. Alright, look at this. This is the hero stone. Now, hunting was a sport, okay, at that point of time. Respect to Banavasi or towns is that your Adi Kavi or almost the very first Kavi or very first poets of Karnataka being your Pampa speaks in great detail about Banavasi, the beauty of Banavasi and the history of Banavasi, nothing but your capital city of your Kadambas. Alright, look at this. The archery was practiced as a sport for both men as well as women. The same applies to your wrestling activities. Alright. Now Kadamban society and economy, it was a fairly good one with respect to the contemporaries. Alright. Now that's it for the content on your Kadambas for the society and economy part. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and share it along with your friends. Thank you.